I've seen a lot of videos floating around out there about holding your tics in, right? Which I'm going to be me and tic right now. My tics involve eye twitching, head jerking, shoulder movements. I've got a couple of vocal tics that show up when I'm really stressed out. My prominent tic is my eye tic. That's the one that when I'm stressed, it's all the time. I can't, really get a handle on it unless I apply the MTS technique. What the MTS technique is it's a cool little meditation that I've come up with. I call it follow the neuron. And this technique involves me being able to go into my meditative state. And it's not like a deep meditation where you have to be in a quiet room. You can actually, once you get good at this, you can apply it anywhere. So as I tic, again, I've had Tourette syndrome for nearly 40 years. I'll be 45 this year. So 7 years old, 7 years old, about when I started having symptoms. It wasn't until age 12 when I was diagnosed in New York City by Dr. Robert Shapiro. My Tourette's is considered mild to moderate. It depends, though, on how I'm eating, kind of foods I'm putting in my body, my stress level, and life situations, right? So mastering Tourette syndrome is about getting a handle on all of the above. It's not just about tic control. So your tic triggers, acceptance, lifestyle, diet, exercise, meditation, stress relief, all of that goes hand in hand. Anxiety is a huge part of Tourette syndrome. Our nation is riddled with a lot of anxiety disorders, and if you have Tourette syndrome, I think that actually compounds that. So it's important to understand all of these concepts that go into the mastering Tourette syndrome idea, right? And so I'm going to just demonstrate for you quickly. My MTS program actually gets in depth with how the technique works, and it's, practice makes permanent. If you practice perfectly, then you'll be able to implement this perfectly in your life for the most part. Again, it's not a cure, but my goal is to spread the awareness out there that the mind is a very powerful thing, and we can do amazing things with our mind. So I'm going to just go into my follow the neuron technique now as I apply it in my daily life when I need relief, when I want relief, or when I just want to appear normal. So I'm actually now into a state where I'm not going to tic. And I can control this and be very normal. I'm not saying it's not a good thing to be yourself. It's absolutely. Acceptance of yourself, others accepting you, that's the most important thing. But I think it's also important if we can do more research around what the brain and the mind is capable of. I've reached out to hundreds of neurologists, neuroscientists, neurology centers, neuroscience study centers around the nation and the world to get someone to actually study me when I deploy this technique. And nobody will work with me. So I figure it's time now that I'm going to put this out there on my own so that I can help one person. Then it will have been worth it to me. So I don't know if you're observing closely, but the time that I'm sitting here speaking with you, I've turned my tics off. Sometimes I can do this for minutes, sometimes hours. As a matter of fact, one time I did it for nearly a week, and I thought I had cured myself. And I mentioned this in another video. And of course, as soon as I thought that, I started ticking again. So it's important to note that learning this technique is not going to cure you, but everybody's different. Hey, it might cure you. Who knows? If God is willing, right? But the important thing to remember is you have control. You have control of yourself. You have control of your mind, your body, your life. Nobody else does. I'm not saying that doctors are wrong and that some people shouldn't be on medication, but I see videos about this deep brain stimulation and doctors going in and doing brain surgery and going into the center of the neocortex somewhere and doing this deep brain stimulation, and it's really helping people with Tourette's. And that's wonderful. But I think also if we can look at this holistically, then maybe we can do more research around the natural side of this and what the brain is actually capable of doing. The brain is capable of amazing things. As a matter of fact, sitting here right now, I've watched a lot of you trying to hold your tics in, and I see how you suffer. But now through my years of practicing this in my own life, I'm able to sit here and I'm comfortable. I don't feel the need to tick. Absolutely, I can feel the neurotransmitters firing throughout my entire body right now. It's actually a really cool experience. Once you get a handle of it, then it doesn't become painful. You actually flow with the neurotransmitter, and it makes me feel more energized, to be honest. It gives me more energy to concentrate on things. And some of you may have noticed this. If you do something like, I watched a documentary on a girl who had Tourette's so severe that she would hit herself, hit her parents. She got the deep brain stimulation, and it really helped her. But before she got that, she would go ice skating, and her tics would almost be gone. When I was little, I used to draw a lot, and I noticed, and my parents noticed, when I would be drawing, I wouldn't be ticking. Same thing when I played guitar, and when I was learning to play the guitar, when I would sit and focus and concentrate on playing the guitar, my tics would go away. So there has to be something there that needs to be touched on. When we're really focused on something, the tics seem to subside. Sleeping, when we sleep, most often the tics are gone. So there's something there that we need to really dig into a lot more deeply. With me, the technique is about meditation. I'm a 25-year veteran of martial arts. I've done a lot of meditative energy arts, that sort of thing. I'm not any type of a guru in that department, but it's all really brought together this concept for me of what the mind and the body and the spirit is capable of doing if you really put into it the effort to better yourself, to master yourself. That's what this program is all about, is mastery of yourself first. If you can accept yourself and you can eat foods that are good for you, stay away from refined sugar and all that crap. I don't know about gluten. I've cut gluten out of my diet. I've cut dairy out of my diet, but I keep coming back to the gluten and dairy because I love it so much. So I don't think it's so much a type of food as it is the quality of the food, right? Vegetables, fruits, multigrain, stuff like that. It's, just your natural diet that's good for the human body. Protein, a lot of protein. The other thing, and I'll touch on this in another video, is magnesium, right? So magnesium is actually linked to balance of dopamine. So if you think about what dopamine is and how the brain works and how it fires neurotransmitters that cause not only Tourette's, but just your typical movement, right? That's a neurotransmitter firing from your brain to tell your body how to react. And Tourette's, naturally, we all understand this, it causes it to react when we don't want it to react. So I think it's important to understand the medical piece of it, but more important to understand the natural piece of this, right? The human brain and yourself. You are what you eat, you are what you think, and that all comes into play when it comes to Tourette syndrome. So I think anybody can learn this technique if they are dedicated and if they put enough effort forth. So I'm willing to share it because if it can bring one person relief and the ability to master not only their Tourette syndrome, but just master themselves, that's what this is all about. So that's where it starts. Anyway, I'll be putting forth a lot more videos. I'm going to talk about very specific things, but I wanted to just dig into the subject of holding your tics in. That's not a good practice. And I know I've been to neurologists in the past that did an exercise with me where they'd set an egg timer and said, okay, be a statue. And when you're a little kid, okay, I'm going to be a statue. Just like a kid with ADHD, they don't have the ability to control that. That's something that is learned through a lifetime. So that's a horrible exercise. So I don't recommend doing that. It's fun to watch all your videos, and it gives me hope that you're trying this stuff, but you just don't quite understand yet what to do about it, right? So the follow the neuron exercise, as I call it, actually is a fun exercise. And It's tough at first. It'll take some getting used to, and don't stress out about it. When you first try it, and you're going to fail a lot. But the idea is just to keep going, keep trying it, and you will get better and better at doing this. And eventually it becomes a really cool thing. I will warn you, when you first try this technique, for some of you it might make you feel a little dizzy or a little maybe charged up, because all of a sudden you're trying to hold still, just like I see in your videos, and you well up, right? But the idea is not to try to stop the tics. The idea is to let the neurons do what the neurons do. The neurotransmitters are going to fire. They're going to fire throughout your entire body, right? But the idea is to go on a journey with them, okay? And I'm going to really get deep into this subject and teach you step for step how to do that. And that's what I've been doing the whole time I'm talking to you. I feel a few slight tics that might be welling up here and there, like a little slight eye, a little slight nose here, and that's fine. I'm not worried about appearing perfect at this point, but I'm trying to demonstrate the fact that it is possible to slow them down. Okay, I'm not so much. It's not a cure again. I'm not so much turning them completely off, because the neurotransmitters, again, they're not stopping right now. They're rapidly going throughout my entire body, head to toe, fingers, everywhere. And it's nonstop, right? But through this technique, I'm actually allowing that to happen. And when I allow that to happen, I'm actually flowing with that energy. And that's what this is all about. So again, you can try a little bit of it yourself, but I warn you, it takes a lot of work and a lot of practice to actually understand how this works and understand how to blend with these neurotransmitters. So there's more to come. There's a lot more to come, I promise you. And I'll show you everything that I know. I love that I have Tourette syndrome. And I don't want to get rid of my Tourette's, because I think it makes me better. And not only that, it makes me who I am. That's the most important thing. You have to love yourself. You have to accept yourself. And if others don't accept you, well, guess what? That's their problem, because you are a beautiful child of God. You are a creation of God, and He gave you the ability to do anything that you want to do, as long as you put your mind to it, you put your heart to it, and you believe. It all comes down to that. So love yourself first. If you don't do that, you can't do anything else. You can't love another person. You can't master anything in this world. Education, job, whatever it may be. You have to love yourself. You are unique. You're the only one of you, and you are somebody that you need to love, because you're the only you that you've got, right? So God bless all you guys out there. Send me video responses, send me questions, challenge me, whatever you feel like you need to do. I am for real. I have Tourette syndrome. I've got all the medical documents to prove it. And if you need to see that, I'll be more than happy to share that with everybody. So thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you very soon. God bless.